This is Baron Gilmore, and today I'm going to be talking about my life as a blind person part 2. Before I can continue, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you like to. You will never know that you'll catch the bait on the hook. And you will never know that love will head your way. When I grew up as a blind person in my family's relative... Let me try again. When I grew up as a blind person from my childhood to my teenage years, I've learned so much independence. Just like in the previous video. And I do like being independent because you get to learn a lot in a different perspective in life. Because say for example, if a blind person is in a room full of people and a few people are talking, look, what would the blind person do? If a few people simply ignored him, would he just stay there doing nothing? Or would he get up and join them? I choose he'll get up and join them. Because a blind person is as equal as everyone, with the love in his heart and in his spirit. And love is like the ingredient of my independence. And love is also like a supplement of my spirit. I had to think first. But anyways, as a blind person, life could be challenging. Like for example, people would tell you you cannot do things, you cannot do this or that. But sometimes I have to tell them, I appreciate your offering or I appreciate your help, but I can do this. I can do this. Like for example, today at Highland High School, well, I can't tell you really where I live at, but in the high school in Highland, Arkansas, I had an urge to get my own stand in jazz band. And so I got up, walked over to the stands, and got my own stand, went to my seat, and put the stand in front of me so I can amplify the sound of the trumpet through the stand. And then I returned it back to its place afterwards. Independence is like a seed of the spirit. Independence is like, like a supplement or a spiritual vitamin. Because you would never know what independence can do to your spirit when you concentrate with your religious beliefs. You would never know. It could lead to more love. It could leave you in a total light. You will never know. Because love is patient and love is kind. It doesn't envy or boast. Love always shines like a light, sprouts from the dirt like a rose, never breaks in friendship. Love stays strong as stone, but doesn't shatter like glass. But when I was 17 years old... Oh, wait. Hope I'm not staying off topic. But when I grew older, till 18 now, I've learned more in my spiritual walk that independence and love is a powerful tool. a very powerful tool. The white cane I use in my hand acts like a navigation tool. It helps me navigate through the halls. It helps me find obstacles and help me overcome it. But let me tell you about self-determination. It helps you advocate for yourself. Like, for example, let me give you a future reference. A blind man in the age of 33 was sitting in a restaurant with a large plate of food in front of him, representing a steak and mashed potatoes, and maybe, let's imagine, a strawberry cobbler. And so the man was sitting there. He reached over to his silverware and shockingly pulled out a set of plasticware instead of silverware. Independently and boldly, he got up from his chair, walked over to where the waiter is sitting, and told him, "May you please give me some silverware?" And the man, knowing that he cannot see, looked at him and said, "I'm afraid you will cut yourself." But the man insisted, telling him, "I appreciate it, but I need to cut my own food. May you please give me some silverware?" And so the man gave him silverware, and the blind man returned to his chair. And a nearby woman, who was sitting in another booth, who was about 40 years old, stood up, walked over to his chair, sat next to him, and told him, "I was actually from a school for the blind in Kentucky. Thank you so much for standing up for yourself. I appreciate it, boy. You did so well standing up for yourself, advocating for yourself with that self-determination." She smiled at him and walked away with joy in her heart and a love towards him. Can y'all see how important that is? For some of you who agreed to this, can you see how important it is that a blind person can do all things through their religious beliefs or through their heart? Because if that blind man didn't tell that man and used plasticware on his food, is it necessary that he didn't get his self-determination? Is it necessary? No. That man needs to stand up for himself so he can grow, so that he will learn, and so that he will continue to show people in a different perspective. I know I have to do it. I had to stand up for myself sometimes. I had to do my independent works. I had to do my self-determination, my expanded core curriculum, the ECC, I've mentioned in the previous video. I need to do these things. I need to be independent. I need to be strong. I need to be courageous. For I'm not afraid or dismayed. For I know that everything is going to be all right as I do these independent things. Let me give you another example of a future story. On one cold night in a large Florida city, let's say Orlando, or let's just say maybe, can't think of another city, but in a cold Florida night, two men were sitting in a room One man was totally blind in both eyes, while another man was sighted. They were sitting at a table in a large house. They were roommates who are about to go to college. And so one man, which is the sighted one, stood up, walked over to the blind man, and told him, "May you help me clean up the home?" And the blind man was like, "Sure, I appreciate it. I will do it." And so the two of them began to clean the home, sweeping the floors, polishing the counters, cleaning the fridge. But then a third man walked into the room, and when he saw the blind man and the first roommate working, he told him, "Why is this blind man working?" And the sighted man, who is an advocate for the blind, told him, "This blind man needs to work. This blind man needs to grow. Because I love him, and I care for him." And when he spoke those words, the second sighted man fell in tears. He wept, he cried, and he realized that the sighted advocate is right. That the blind need the rights to do everything with the sighted. Guys, if that sighted man didn't tell the blind man to help him, would that blind man do nothing? The blind are very unique. They could do more than you think. Just like in my experience, they could do much more. They could do much more. Like, for example, me playing the trumpet in band, that's one. Me going to school every day, riding the bus, yes, second. Me traveling the halls by myself in school and other places, absolutely. The blind could do much more than you think and imagine. Because if the blind weren't taught independence, what will they be? If the blind weren't taught their spiritual or religious or just their normal beliefs, would they be someone? Or will they be nothing? Let me tell you guys, the moment I'm brought into this world from the womb, my life had changed at the age of 17. I started looking more at my independence, at my growth in the spiritual, because I'm a Christian, and I do believe that God has big plans for my independence, that God will help me continue doing them through the Holy Ghost, through His love. Guys, I hope you liked this video. I hope I have stayed on topic as best I could, as a blind one. I love you guys. Have a blissful day.